Listen to these words and notice what pops into your head. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Apple, Nike. Right now, your mind just flooded with images, memories, and maybe even feelings. You might see that iconic Coca-Cola bottle, hear the McDonald's jingle, picture Apple's sleek design, and maybe remember the last time you wore Nikes. Now, these responses weren't random, they happened instantly and automatically. That's the power of these companies and their strong brands. But here's where most people get confused. Most people think all those images and sounds and memories are the brand. The logo is the brand, the jingle is the brand, the product design is the brand. Hi, I'm Reda Medan, a designer and brand strategist. I help companies like yours build a brand that will attract your ideal customer. What if I told you that every single one of these elements is just a piece of something much bigger? In this video, we're going to discover what a brand actually is, and I promise you it's not what you think. So if the logo isn't the brand, what is it? Let's start with the most obvious place where people get this wrong, that which they can see. When someone says, I need to create a brand, the first thing they do is design a logo. And that makes sense, right? The Nike swoosh, or the golden arches of McDonald's, and the Apple. These symbols are instantly recognizable worldwide. These logos are incredibly valuable. Nike swoosh is on every shoe, every shirt, every billboard. You can spot it from across the room. Apple's logo is on the back of millions of laptops and phones, telling everybody what kind of person is that is using that computer. These visual markers work because they are consistent, memorable, and they're everywhere. Think about this. If I were to put Nike swoosh on a cheap pair of shoes that is falling apart, would you still think Nike? What about Apple's logo on a bulky, complicated computer? Would you still think it was an Apple product? The logo points to something, but it isn't the thing itself. Visual brand identities, such as the logos, the typography, the color palettes, or the brand guides, these are all signals. Try to think of them as road signs that are pointing you in a direction. They're not the end destination. The logo is just a piece of the puzzle. It's not the entire picture. Brands don't just communicate through what we see. They also stick in our minds through what we hear. And that's where things get even more interesting. Ba 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 ba. I'm loving it. You just heard that in your head, didn't you? Maybe even the exact melody. That's because McDonald's jingle is burned into our brain. Just like the sound of a Mac computer booting up, that gong, that bong. And what about the always Coca-Cola, or perhaps the just do it slogan from Nike? These audio elements are strategic. Companies spend millions of dollars crafting the perfect jingle, the perfect sound, the perfect slogan. Why? Because sound bypasses our logical brain and goes straight to memory and to emotion. You can't see a jingle, but you can remember it for decades. Think about Coca-Cola's Taste the Feeling or Open Happiness. These slogans aren't just words, they're emotional triggers. They make you feel something. And when you feel something connected to a brand, that's powerful. Here's the thing though, imagine hearing I'm loving it while you're eating at a dirty restaurant with rude staff and terrible food. Would the jingle alone make you love it? No. The jingle works because it also represents something bigger. It's another piece of the puzzle, it's another signal. So we've got visual signals and we've got audio signals, both powerful, both memorable, but each one of them pointing to something beyond themselves. And that something is what happens every single time you interact with one of these companies. And that's what we got to talk about next. I want you to think about a real-life interaction you might have had. You don't experience Nike's swoosh or Apple's Think Different slogan in isolation. You experience these brands when you walk into their stores, when you talk to their employees, when you use their products, and when you need customer service. Imagine the following scenario. You walk into an Apple store. The layout is clean, uncluttered. The employees with the blue shirts know their product inside and out. You pick up one of their products, you look at how sleek the design is, how the corners are slightly rounded. And when you have any questions, you can walk over to the Genius Bar and somebody there will try to solve your problem. What about when you walk into a Foot Locker because you're looking to buy a new pair of Nikes? The way the shoes feel when you try them on. The salesperson who understands what you need for running versus what you need for basketball. And the return policy when something doesn't quite fit. Or what about when you go in and order some McDonald's? The speed of the service, the consistency, the way a Big Mac tastes in New York is the same as it tastes in Miami, the customer service or how the people greet you. These experiences aren't random, they're designed. Every touch point where a customer interacts with a company is a chance for that company to reinforce what they stand for or to break that promise. Think of a time where you had terrible customer service from a company with a beautiful logo and a catchy slogan. Did that logo make you feel better? No, the experience broke the promise that the logo was making. Okay, so the brand experience feels like it might be what the brand is, right? After all, it's where the rubber meets the road. But we're still missing something because even the brand experience does not live in a vacuum. So all these pieces of the puzzle, the visuals, the sounds, the brand experiences, they all seem to fit together. And when you add them all up, you start seeing the complete picture. So let's talk about what happens when you put all the brand assets into one place. Let's lay out everything we have so far. We've got the visual brand identity, the logos, the typography, the color schemes, the brand style guides, the design language that makes a Nike ad look like a Nike ad. We've also got the audio identity, the jingles, the slogans, the commercial soundtracks, the sonic signature. And we've got the product-specific features such as the Nike swoosh on every shoe, the shape of the classic Coca-Cola bottle, the sleek, minimal design of Apple products, the golden arches that you can see from the highway. These are all brand assets. They're tangible. You can point to them, you can touch them, you can put them in a folder, give them to a designer or an advertiser. These assets are tools. They're incredibly important tools, but they're still tools. Without them, customers wouldn't recognize you. They wouldn't remember you. These assets create consistency every place your brand shows up. But notice what's missing from the list: the brand experience. How your employees feel about working with you, how your customers feel when they interact with you, the reputation that you built over time, the trust or distrust that people have with your company. You can't put customer trust in a brand style guide, the same way you can't trademark the feeling that I get when I walk into your store. These aren't assets you own in the traditional sense, but they're absolutely part of your brand. So we've got all these pieces: the visuals, the sound, the designed experiences, the feelings and reputations. When you step back and you look at all of it, something becomes very clear. The brand isn't any one of these pieces. It's not even the sum of all of these pieces. The brand is something that exists in a very specific place. And that's what we need to talk about now. Here's the truth. The brand is a reflection. Think of it this way. When a company looks at itself in the mirror, what gets reflected back is the brand. Not what the company wants to be, not what the logo is trying to promise. What is reflected back is the brand. So the logos, the jingles, the product design, this is what the company put out into the world. The customer experiences, the employee culture, the quality of the service, this is what the company actually does. But the brand is how all of this is perceived and experienced by everyone who encounters that brand. Apple's brand is not the Apple logo. It's the reflection of innovation, simplicity, and premium quality that people see in everything that Apple does. The logo reinforces it, the store experience reinforces it, the product's design reinforces it, but the brand is the overall impression. Nike's brand isn't the swoosh, it's the reflection of athletic excellence, determination, and achievement. Every swoosh, every just do it, every sponsored athlete, it all contributes to that same reflection. The brand is what people feel that Nike represents. And this is what makes it so powerful but also so challenging. You don't fully control your brand. Now you control the assets, you control the experiences, you control what you put out there, but what you don't control is that reflection. But your brand's reflection, what people actually see and believe about you, that's shaped by everything that you do and even the things that you don't plan for. If your logo says luxury but your customer service is terrible, the reflection shows inconsistency. If your slogan says innovation but your products are outdated, the reflection will reveal that gap. The brand or your brand is always honest. It'll always tell the truth. So what is a brand? It's every touch point, every promise, every asset, every experience, the entirety of it all reflected back as one complete image. It's what your customer actually sees and experiences when they look at your company. It's not what you're trying to tell them, it's not what you're trying to get them to experience. It's what they actually see, what they actually experience, what they actually believe when they interact with your brand based on everything that you do. Now here's the beautiful thing about this. Once you understood that, you realize that building a brand is not about making a perfect logo or a catchy jingle. It's about making sure that everything you do, from your visual identity to the way you treat your customers and the way that your employees feel about working with you, all reflect the same truth. When all those puzzle pieces align, you have a powerful brand. So the next time somebody asks you what your brand is, don't point at your logo. Rather, ask yourself, when customers look at my company, what is reflected back to them? That's your brand, and that's what will make you unforgettable. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave a comment, and share it with your friends.